Hi, everybody. Hey, guys. So we are very lucky this year. We were given a gift. It's a very poorly wrapped gift of Trump and Hillary, but still a gift. So how do we take advantage of this poorly wrapped gift? We have to make sure that we communicate well, because now they're going to hear what we have to say. Their ears are open. So what are we going to do? Are we going to do it authentically or not? I say it must be authentically. But not just that, it must be in a way that is not just the mind, the brain. We've been giving our brains away for 20 years and it hasn't worked. I want us to give our soul away. I want them to hear who we are and love us for who we are. The problem right now is they're afraid. They're afraid so much that they brought Mama Bernie and Daddy Trump out. Mom, who Democrats want to be your mom and they want to give you the blanket and make you feel good, or Trump, who wants to be the dad and the sword and I'm going to protect you. I don't want to be your mom. I don't want to be your dad. I want to be your brother. I want to be equal to you. I want to love you no matter who you love. I want to love you no matter what substances you decide to use. I want to love you no matter what you do. And if you have a problem or an issue, I don't want to put you in a 12-year prison. I want to help you in a 12-step program. I want to love you. If they hear that message and we actually show them that we're not trying to cut everything and destroy everything, we're instead trying to empower them and bring back responsibility. We want to be like a responsible, loving sibling, not like a dictatorial parent. Even though we think we know better, we don't. We're libertarians. Let's be authentic and let them know. Very good.
Short and sweet. Who did more damage, Bush or Obama, and why?
Could you imagine after 9/11 if all of a sudden we decided instead of invading countries, we instead took our best special forces, all of them, the best in the world, and sent them after Osama bin Laden? Within a year or two, the odds are we would have got him. We would have got him under Bush. But not just that. Imagine if we had not invaded any other nations. We had just gotten Osama and then come home. Removed ourselves from Saudi Arabia, removed ourselves from the Middle East. What would have happened? Would it be better there or worse? I don't know. But would they be fighting us? No. Would there be 6,000 dead Americans, which we don't seem to remember? 6,000 dead servicemen? Yes, there would not be those. Or the 20 or 30,000 severely wounded of my brothers and sisters in the military who came back and we ignored? No, they wouldn't be there. So, Bush had bad ideas, but Obama knew better.
The question is, what role does culture play in creating a government that infringes our liberty, and what, if anything, can be done about it?
About a month ago, I was teaching a class to a bunch of entrepreneurs in the construction industry. And one of the guys said to me, he said, Larry, I got a guy who made a $60,000 error, so I'm going to fire him. I said, why? You just spent $60,000 training him. Why would you do that? Why? Because we have a culture of punishment and a culture of no second chance that exists in our business world and also in our culture, in our government. Someone made a mistake, fire him. Someone made a mistake, punish him. Prosecute him, prosecute him, prosecute him. That feels good because we feel righteous, but that creates no long-term value. It also creates a system where no one has a second chance. She broke a law, put her in jail. Criminal, no job for her. He broke a law, criminal, no job for him. No second chance, punishment. It's wrong, it's bad, it hurts us all.
How much of practical politics can be derived from the non-aggression principle? What other principles must be added to the non-aggression principle in judging policy positions?
Remember something, everyone. Government is law. And most people think they're being righteous when they say there ought to be a law. They think they're not talking about force. There ought to be a law. I'm doing the right thing. But law is force. It's just outsourced force to our police force and to our judge system. And that's okay, because sometimes force is the right answer. If there's a victim, if there's a loss of property or threat of loss of property or life or limb, then force is okay. But why would you want to use force for something that doesn't have a victim? If there's no victim, then there should be no force, then there should be no law, then there should be no government. It is that simple. The NAP is the basis. If I don't think it's okay to physically grab a cigarette from your mouth, then there should be no law about those cigarettes.
Should the U.S. be part of international organizations like NATO or the UN? Why or why not?
One of the biggest mistakes we made after the Cold War ended was we didn't disband NATO. NATO's job was to defend ourselves against the Soviet Union. Once the Soviet Union went away, why didn't NATO go away? It should have immediately. All it did was make the Russians distrust us even more. We have problems now with them because they're saying, why do you want NATO? Why do you keep pushing it? It was worthless. George Washington told us, the first president, stay out of foreign entanglements, stay out. Absolutely. NATO, disband, get out, let them do what they want. If the EU wants to keep NATO, good for the EU. We are not part of the EU. If the UN, please go ahead. Absolutely. If the UN would be a completely non-enforcing, just collaborative agency, maybe. Otherwise, no UN.
What would be the first politically achievable, emphasize that, reform in the tax code that you would fight for?
Used to be that we got most of our money from the federal government from other things than employees. Now we get a whole lot of our money from payroll tax. And what does that do? It makes you not want to hire people. It makes the government stop facilitating employment. I want the government to help, not hurt. So what I would first try to do is destroy the payroll tax. If we destroy the payroll tax, by default, people will have more money in their pocket. By default, people will want to hire more people. That will actually, by default, wind up cutting the government. We get something like, was it 35, 40%? We have Google, someone will tell me. Something like 35 or 40% of our income comes from employees. If we cut the payroll tax, we by default cut the income and we starve the government, and we allow people to hire without having to spend more money.
As a Canadian, it seems to me that our Queen grants us about as much freedom as your president. Do you think that all the blood spilled in the American Revolution was therefore worth it? And when do you personally recommend armed rebellion?
I would say revolution is always a good idea when you feel you have to revolt. But let's not assume that the only way to revolt is through violence. I think Martin Luther King Jr. would show you don't have to. Gandhi would show you don't have to. Nelson Mandela would show both. Nelson Mandela would show both. So neither is right, neither is wrong. Revolution is fine, but we're libertarians. We can revolt with our mouths, we can revolt with our guns, we can revolt with our feet, we can revolt with our wallets. There are many ways for us to revolt. So I think revolution is the right answer, was the right answer, but I don't want to keep it to just guns. If that's what it takes, Nelson Mandela said that, and so did Malcolm X. But some people don't, and they were all libertarians. Harriet Tubman, our founding fathers, all of them were libertarians, and they all revolted. They were all outlaws, and I'm okay with that. Choose your weapons.
The question is this: does the term libertarian have a branding problem? And if so, what should we do about it?
When people hear us say, I don't want the federal government to be responsible for feeding every child in this country, people hear, you want children to starve. That's our problem. We have to change how we speak. If we start with that, that is what hurts our brand. We've spent so much time hitting them with logic because we're right. But if logic was the problem, we would have already won the White House and the Congress, and the White House would be a tourist attraction right now. That's what would have happened.
So it's not logic. That's our problem. It is emotion and that feeling. We must change that. We must get them to hear our message, and we can do that now. Once we change it, instead of saying, I don't want the government to be responsible, we say, is there a better way? Is there a better way? How can we fix this? They will hear us. In fact, if you tell a statist, what's the best way to feed children? They won't say government. They'll say charity. Oh yeah, charity. Now we can talk. Now they will hear us, and that's what we need. They have to understand something. We are the only party that has an ism. There is no Democratic-ism, Republic-ism, Libertarian-ism. Why? Democrats want what is good and will help, but they will do anything to get that with that good intent, and it will end up in punishment. Republicans will do what is right and righteous, but they'll do whatever it takes to do that. It will end up in punishment. But libertarians, we have something special. We have the non-aggression principle. That principle says that I don't want to force anyone to do anything. So everything we do by default does not end in a new way to punish. That is why we have an ism and they don't.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to have closing statements.
We all know that this is going to be our year. We know this. We all know that we are going to grow this year. We know this too. But what people are trying to tell us is this is our last chance. They're trying to tell us that the war is almost over. This is our last battle. That's a lie. This is the beginning, my brothers and sisters, the beginning. Just the start. They will try to tell you that we only have one shot, and now we must lose our soul to win. No. No. This is the beginning and the beginning only, and we must be more authentic than we've ever been. Now, they are going to try to tell us that we have to accept and reinforce the terrible stereotypes that we've been burdened for years, that we are all Republican light. No, we are not. No, we are not. That is part of our party, and I love my Republican-like brothers, but you are just part of my party, and that's all. That's it. Or that we are all white men over 60. We are not. That is part of us, and I love my white men over 60, but you are not all of my party. We are much more than that. We cannot reinforce those stereotypes. That's what they think we are. We are not that. We are much more. We need someone who will show them that. I am a veteran. I'm a minority. I'm a city boy. I'm an Easterner. I am also part of this party. My question to us is, if we believe this, if we believe two things, we have a big problem. Do we believe that you have to have government experience to be in government? If we think that we're in the wrong party, that convention is 2 months later, you should be going there. Second, do we believe that one Republican governor is not enough? If we believe that, we have a problem internally with our party. We must understand that one is enough and something else would help. We want to show who we are, reach the most people. We want to have the strength to be authentic. If we show them our soul, we will win their hearts and minds. We will grow and we will win.
Ask a Libertarian Facebook fan page is spreading awareness of libertarianism and informing non-libertarians while empowering those who support liberty on a daily basis. This is your opportunity to be empowered, and let us advocate libertarianism for you at facebook.com/askalibertarian.